Hello, dear story lovers. At the amount of 1,000 subscribers, I will post a huge series of special stories for you. Subscribe now. The rain fell in unrelenting sheets, reflecting the neon haze of Neo-Tokyo's endless skyline. Eli Rain wiped grease-streaked hands on his oil-stained overalls, squinting at the advertisement on his holopad. The job sounded simple enough: technician required for unique retrieval operation. High pay. Confidential. It was the confidential part that hooked him. Eli had seen his share of shady jobs, fixing busted bots for smugglers, jerry-rigging power cores for scavengers, but this one reeked of something bigger. Bigger meant better pay, and Eli's rent was due yesterday. Hours later, he found himself descending into the bowels of the city. Uri Alley, a forgotten maze of tunnels beneath Neo-Tokyo, had a reputation for swallowing people whole. Crumbling steel and tangled cables loomed overhead, and the air carried the stench of mildew and decay. The shadowy contact who had sent him here, a tall, cloaked figure who paid up front, was long gone. Eli was alone. The old tech sprawled across the cavern was unlike anything he'd ever seen. Not just outdated human technology, but ancient and otherworldly. Pulsing conduits snaked along the walls, glowing faintly in hues of green and violet. Eli ran his hand along a panel, feeling the hum of dormant power. "What the hell is this place?" he muttered. As he ventured deeper, the tunnel opened into a massive chamber, and there it stood, the dragon. At first, Eli thought it was a statuette, enormous sculpture crafted from some gleaming, alien alloy. Its serpentine body coiled in the center of the room, bound by glowing restraints that crackled with energy. The scales shimmered like liquid starlight, shifting between colors Eli didn't even have names for. Its wings, tucked close to its body, seemed large enough to block out the sun. Then its eyes opened. Twin orbs of molten gold locked onto Eli, and a voice, deep and resonant, echoed in his mind. "You are not one of them." Eli stumbled back, heart pounding. He looked around, searching for speakers, a hologram, anything to explain the voice. But it came again, louder and more insistent. "Do not be afraid, human. I am Zephyrion, guardian of the astral seal. Long have I been imprisoned, waiting for one who can free me." "Guardian? Astral seal?" Eli blurted, his voice cracking. "Listen, I think you've got the wrong guy. I'm just a mechanic." Zephyrion's head tilted, steadying him. "Mechanic?" "Yes. The tools of the maker. You may be more suited than you believe." Eli's hands tightened around his toolkit as he approached cautiously. The restraints binding the dragon were unlike anything he'd encountered before, rings of alien material that pulsed with a strange energy, connected to a complex control panel embedded in the wall. He hesitated, his instincts screaming that he should turn back, leave this place, and forget he'd ever seen it. But something in Zephyrion's eyes stopped him. It wasn't just desperation, it was trust. Against his better judgment, Eli began his work. The controls were baffling, a blend of organic and mechanical systems that seemed to respond to his touch as if alive. As he tinkered, Zephyrion explained, its voice calm but laced with urgency. "Eons ago, I was bound here by a dying civilization. They feared what I protected, a power that could reshape the fabric of existence. They thought to bury it, but it is not meant to be hidden. Now, others seek it, those who would use it to destroy rather than create." "Sounds like a good reason to keep it buried," Eli muttered, prying open a conduit. "It is not so simple," Zephyrion replied. "The seal must remain under a guardian's watch. I must be freed to protect it once more." As hours passed, Eli lost himself in the work, his fingers moving instinctively as he adapted his skills to the alien technology. Sparks flew, circuits hummed, and finally, with a sharp crack, the last restraint shattered. The dragon reared back, spreading its immense wings as the chamber filled with blinding light. Eli shielded his eyes, barely able to process what he was seeing. Zephyrian's scales shimmered brighter than before, and a low, melodic hum resonated through the room. Then the dragon lowered its head, and Eli felt a warmth spread through his chest as its voice echoed in his mind once more. "You have freed me, Eli Rain. By the laws of my kind, I am now bound to you as my companion and ally. Together, we will guard the astral seal." Eli's jaw dropped. Whoa, hold on. Bound to me? What does that even mean? I didn't sign up for Dash. But before he could finish, the ground beneath him rumbled. From the shadows, sleek drones armed with energy weapons emerged, their black carapaces bearing the insignia of the Black Nebula. Zephyrion roared, the sound shaking the very walls of the chamber. "It seems we are out of time, mechanic. Prepare yourself." Eli barely had a chance to grab his tools before the first shots were fired. The ground trembled as the first volley of plasma rounds ricocheted off Zephyrian's gleaming scales. Eli dove behind a crumbling console, his heart pounding in his chest. The drones moved with mechanical precision, their sleek, angular designs suggesting technology far more advanced than anything Earth's corporations or governments could produce. "Stay low, Eli," Zephyrian's voice rang in his mind, sharp and commanding. "Their weapons will struggle to penetrate my scales, but they may target you." "Noted," Eli shouted, fumbling with the contents of his toolkit. He wasn't a soldier or a hero, he was just a mechanic with a knack for fixing broken things. But he couldn't sit idly while the drones closed in. If these attackers wanted the so-called astral seal, then keeping Zephyrion alive was the only thing standing in their way. Zephyrion unleashed a torrent of energy from its maw, a concentrated beam of shimmering light that sliced through the first wave of drones like a hot knife through butter. The explosion lit the chamber, casting jagged shadows against the walls. "Who the hell are these guys?" Eli yelled, ducking as another round of plasma fire rained down. "The Black Nebula," Zephyrion growled. "A faction of cosmic raiders and technomancers. They seek the astral seal for its power, but they cannot be allowed to wield it." "Yeah, I got that much," Eli muttered. His hands moved frantically, rewiring a piece of the alien tech he'd yanked from the broken restraints. The conduits in the chamber still pulsed faintly, feeding on residual energy. If he could rig something to overload them. The air crackled as Zephyrian's tail whipped through another group of drones, scattering debris across the chamber. More drones poured in, their relentless advance unyielding. Eli glanced up to see the dragon's scales glowing brighter, but even Zephyrian's power had its limits. With a triumphant shout, Eli connected the final wire and slapped a piece of duct tape over the makeshift device. "All right, big guy, you might want to step back." "What have you done?" Zephyrion asked, eyeing the crude contraption. "Just trust me." Eli pressed a button, and the entire chamber lit up with a blinding surge of energy. The conduits flared, and arcs of electricity leapt between the drones, frying their circuits in a dazzling cascade. The remaining drones collapsed in a heap of sparking metal. Zephyrion let out a rumble of approval. "Impressive, human. Your ingenuity may prove invaluable." Eli slumped against a nearby wall, panting. "Don't sound so surprised." Before they could savor the victory, the chamber trembled violently. Dust and debris fell from the ceiling, and a deep, mechanical groan echoed through the tunnels. "More will come," Zephyrion warned. "We must leave this place. They will not stop until the astral seal is in their grasp." "Yeah, about that," Eli said, pushing himself to his feet. "You keep talking about this seal like it's the Holy Grail or something. Why is it so important?" Zephyrian's golden eyes locked onto him, glowing with an otherworldly intensity. "The astral seal is not an object, but an energy nexus of reality itself. It is both a key and a gate, capable of rewriting the very fabric of existence. In the wrong hands, it could unravel entire universes." Eli blinked. "Unravel universes? Great. Just great. And now I'm somehow part of this. You freed me, Eli Rain. You are bound to this task as I am. Together, we must ensure the seal remains hidden. Eli groaned. Fantastic. I'm a mechanic, not a cosmic guardian. Perhaps it is time you became both, Zephyrion said, lowering its head so Eli could climb onto its back. Reluctantly, he hoisted himself up, gripping one of the dragon's spiny ridges for support. Zephyrion leapt into motion, its massive wings unfurling. With a single powerful beat, it launched them out of the chamber and into the dark tunnels above. The air rushed past, carrying with it the faint scent of ozone and metal. As they emerged from the subterranean maze, the night sky stretched out before them. Neo-Tokyo's endless sprawl glittered below, but in the distance, a black, triangular craft hovered ominously. Its silhouette blotted out the stars, and a low hum vibrated through the air. Their flagship, Zephyrion growled. They will not rest until we are destroyed. Any bright ideas? Eli asked, tightening his grip. The dragon's wings glowed faintly, and a ripple of energy surrounded them. Hold on. With a burst of speed, Zephyrion soared into the sky, narrowly dodging a beam of energy fired from the ship. The craft's sleek drones emerged once more, giving chase. Eli's stomach lurched as Zephyrion performed a series of aerial maneuvers, weaving between the skyscrapers of Neo-Tokyo. Eli rummaged through his toolkit, his mind racing. He spotted a loose cable dangling from Zephyrion's saddle-like scales. "Can I borrow this?" he asked, yanking it free. "Do what you must," the dragon replied, its voice tinged with curiosity. Eli connected the cable to one of his salvaged gadgets, tweaking it as they soared. "Okay, if I can just reverse the polarity on their tracking signal." A bolt of plasma seared past them, narrowly missing. Eli flinched but didn't stop. With a triumphant cry, he jammed the device into Zephyrion's scales. A pulse of energy rippled outward, disrupting the drones mid-flight. They spiraled out of control, crashing into the city below. Zephyrion let out a victorious roar. "You continue to surprise me, human." "Yeah, well, don't get used to it," Eli said, clutching tightly as Zephyrion ascended higher, disappearing into the clouds. They landed hours later in a remote forest outside the city. The moonlight filtered through the trees, casting an ethereal glow over Zephyrion's scales. Eli slid off the dragon's back, collapsing onto the ground. "So, what now?" he asked, staring up at the stars. "I'm guessing the Black Nebula isn't going to let this go." "They will return, stronger and more determined," Zephyrion said, folding its wings. "We must prepare." Eli sighed. "Prepare for what?" The dragon's gaze was steady, unyielding. "For the war that is to come." Eli groaned, covering his face with his hands. "I should have just stuck to fixing hoverbikes." The forest was alive with the faint hum of alien technology as Eli tinkered under the glow of Zephyrion's shimmering scales. They had taken refuge in a hidden glade, where ancient trees stretched skyward and stars peeked through the gaps in the canopy. Eli was working on a device cobbled together from parts he had salvaged during their escape, a crude long-range scanner that Zephyrion insisted was critical to finding the Eventide Gate. "This is insane," Eli muttered, twisting a bolt into place. "I don't even know if this thing will work. How am I supposed to find some ancient cosmic lock when I can barely keep my holopad from crashing?" Zephyrion's eyes glowed faintly as it observed Eli's work. "Doubt is a natural reaction to the unknown, Eli. But your ingenuity has brought us this far. Trust in yourself." Eli gave the dragon a sidelong glance. "Easy for you to say. You're a cosmic superdragon. I'm just a guy with a wrench." "Even a wrench can be a weapon of great power in capable hands," Zephyrion replied, a faint trace of humor in its tone. With a reluctant chuckle, Eli powered up the device. It emitted a series of chimes as it scanned the skies, searching for the unique energy signature of the Eventide Gate. The air grew tense as they waited, each beep of the scanner echoing through the forest like a heartbeat. Then, a sharp, rising tone signaled a match. Eli's heart raced as he stared at the device's screen, which displayed a set of coordinates far beyond Earth's atmosphere. "Got it," Eli said, his voice tinged with disbelief. "It's somewhere out there." Zephyrion lowered its head, its gaze firm. "Then we must go. The Eventide Gate is the final barrier protecting the astral seal. If the Black Nebula reaches it first, all will be lost." The ascent to the stars, their departure from Earth, was nothing short of breathtaking. Zephyrion's body glowed with a radiant energy as it pierced through the atmosphere, carrying Eli in a protective energy cocoon. The vastness of space unfolded before them, a canvas of stars, nebulae, and endless void. Eli was speechless as he stared at the cosmic expanse. He had spent his life surrounded by the smog and neon lights of Neo-Tokyo, never imagining he would one day leave the planet. Now, he was part of something far greater than himself. "All right, big guy," Eli said, his voice tinged with awe. "Where exactly is this gate?" Zephyrion's wings beat soundlessly in the vacuum of space, propelling them forward with an elegance that defied physics. "It lies within the astral rift, a dimension between dimensions. The coordinates you discovered point to a convergence point, a celestial anomaly where the veil is thin." The journey took them past alien worlds and cosmic phenomena that defied explanation. They passed a dying star surrounded by crystalline rings, where immense creatures moved like whales through an ocean of light. They dodged asteroid fields that sparkled with veins of rare minerals and skirted the edges of a black hole whose pull threatened to consume even time itself. Eli couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. "You sure the Black Nebula isn't tailing us?" he asked, glancing nervously over his shoulder. "They will come," Zephyrion said grimly. "But they are not the only danger in the astral rift. Many beings covet the seal's power. Stay vigilant." The Eventide Gate, after what felt like days in the endless void, they arrived at the convergence point. The Eventide Gate was a sight beyond comprehension, a massive, swirling vortex of colors and light that seemed to stretch infinitely in all directions. It pulsed with a rhythm that felt alive, its energy resonating in Eli's chest like a distant song. "Is this it?" Eli asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Yes," Zephyrion said, its voice reverent. "The Eventide Gate is both a threshold and a test. Only those deemed worthy may pass." As they approached, the vortex shimmered and shifted, forming intricate patterns that seemed to respond to their presence. Eli marveled at the sight, but his awe was cut short by a familiar hum, the low, menacing drone of the Black Nebula's fleet. "They're here," Eli muttered, his jaw tightening. A triangular flagship emerged from the void, flanked by squadrons of sleek, deadly drones. The lead ship broadcast a message in a cold, mechanical voice. "Surrender the Guardian and the human, and the seal shall be ours. Resistance is futile." Zephyrion's scales flared with light, and its voice boomed in Eli's mind. "They will not take what is sacred. Hold on, Eli." The battle erupted in a dazzling display of energy and chaos. Zephyrion darted and weaved through the onslaught, its powerful wings deflecting plasma blasts. It retaliated with beams of pure cosmic energy, slicing through the enemy drones with precision. Eli, clinging to Zephyrion's back, worked frantically with his tools, modifying a piece of alien tech he had salvaged earlier. If he could amplify the resonance of the gate, it might destabilize the enemy's tracking systems. "Almost. There!" Eli shouted, securing the final component. He activated the device, and the gate responded with a brilliant flare of light. The drones faltered, their formations breaking as the resonance disrupted their systems. But the flagship remained undeterred. Its weapons charged, aiming a devastating beam directly at the gate. "No!" Zephyrion roared, surging forward to shield the gate with its body. The beam struck, and the dragon's scales burned with searing light, but it held firm. Eli, seeing Zephyrion falter under the strain, scrambled to connect his device to the gate's core. "Come on, work," he shouted, slamming his fist against the controls. The gate responded, releasing a pulse of energy so powerful it tore through the enemy fleet, scattering the Black Nebula's forces across the void. The flagship, heavily damaged, retreated into the darkness. Zephyrion landed beside the gate, its breathing heavy but steady. "You did well, Eli. The gate is safe for now." The rift beyond. As the gate stabilized, its swirling patterns parted, revealing a pathway into the astral rift. Eli stared at the glowing passage, a mix of fear and determination in his eyes. "What's on the other side?" he asked. "The astral seal," Zephyrion replied. "And the final test of our bond." Eli took a deep breath, gripping his toolkit tightly. "Well, no point turning back now." With that, they stepped into the light, leaving the familiar stars behind and entering a realm where reality itself twisted and danced. The journey to protect the seal was far from over, but Eli was ready to face whatever came next because, for the first time, he believed he wasn't just a mechanic anymore. He was a guardian. The transition into the astral rift was unlike anything Eli could have imagined. The familiar void of space gave way to a kaleidoscope of swirling lights and shifting landscapes, where physics bent and reality wove itself into shapes that defied comprehension. Floating islands, shimmering rivers of starlight, and creatures that seemed to be made entirely of energy drifted in the infinite expanse. Eli clutched Zephyrion's scales tightly as the dragon navigated the surreal environment with practiced ease. The atmosphere felt charged, as though the very fabric of the place was alive and watching. "We are close," Zephyrion said, its voice resonating in Eli's mind. "The astral seal lies ahead, protected by a force beyond even my understanding." Eli glanced down at his toolkit, feeling out of his depth but determined. "So, what's the plan? Do I don't know, tweak something and hope for the best?" Zephyrion's laughter rumbled softly. "The seal is not a machine to be fixed, Eli. It is a test one that examines our intentions, our bond, and our will. We must be prepared for anything." The astral seal, as they approached the heart of the astral rift, a structure unlike anything Eli had seen, came into view. The astral seal was a massive crystalline sphere, suspended in a web of golden light. Its surface pulsed with shifting runes, each one glowing briefly before fading into the next. The sphere radiated an energy that Eli could feel in his bones, both awe-inspiring and terrifying. "Okay," Eli said, his voice trembling. "That's definitely not something I can fix with duct tape." Zephyrion landed gracefully on a floating platform near the seal. The air around them was heavy with power, and Eli could barely stand as the energy pressed down on him. The dragon stood firm, its scales glowing with a steady light. Suddenly, a voice deep, resonant, and ancient echoed through the rift, not from Zephyrion, but from the seal itself. "Who approaches the astral seal?" Zephyrion lowered its head in reverence. "I am Zephyrion, guardian of the seal. I return to fulfill my oath." The voice shifted, now addressing Eli. "And you, human? Why do you come to this sacred place?" Eli swallowed hard, the weight of the question pressing on him. He wasn't sure how to answer. He wasn't a hero or a chosen one. He was just a mechanic, swept up in something far bigger than himself. I don't know if I'm worthy," Eli admitted. "But I'm here because I believe it's the right thing to do. I can't let this power fall into the wrong hands." The voice paused, as if considering his words. Then it spoke again. "To protect the seal is to face its truth. Prepare yourself." The crystalline sphere began to glow brighter, and the platform beneath Eli and Zephyrion dissolved. They were plunged into a vast, featureless expanse of white light. Eli floated weightlessly, while Zephyrion remained close, its presence a comforting anchor. Then, the light shifted, forming images around them. Eli saw Neo Tokyo, his old life flashing before his eyes. He saw himself working tirelessly in his dingy repair shop, surrounded by broken machines and unpaid bills. He saw moments of failure, regret, and loneliness. The vision changed. He saw the black nebulous fleet, cities in ruin, and the universe unraveling under the seal's power. A voice whispered in his mind, dripping with malice. You could use the seal's power to change all of this. To fix what is broken. To reshape the universe as you see fit. Eli's chest tightened. The temptation was palpable. He had always wanted to make things better, to fix what was broken, not just machines, but the world itself. The voice offered him a way to do that, to wield the power of creation. No, Eli said, his voice steady. That's not how it works. Power like this. It's not mine to use. It's not anyone's. The voice faltered, and the visions dissolved. The light shifted again, now focusing on Zephyrion. The dragon stood tall, but its form flickered, revealing a darker shadow within. Eli realized it was Zephyrion's past its failures, its moments of doubt. The seal's voice returned, echoing with finality. You are flawed, as all beings are. Yet, it is through these flaws that strength is found. Guardian and human, your bond is tested. Your intentions align. The seal is yours to protect. The guardian's burden. The white light faded, and Eli and Zephyrion found themselves back in the astral rift. The crystalline sphere hovered before them, now glowing with a steady, golden light. Eli exhaled shakily, his legs weak beneath him. That was intense. Zephyrion lowered its head, its voice filled with quiet reverence. You have proven yourself, Eli. The seal recognizes you as its guardian alongside me. Wait, what? Eli stared at the dragon. I didn't sign up for Dash. Before he could finish, the seal emitted a beam of light that enveloped them both. Eli felt a surge of energy flow through him, filling him with a warmth that was both empowering and humbling. He saw flashes of distant stars, alien worlds, and the delicate balance of the universe. When the light faded, the seal dimmed, retreating into a dormant state. The rift seemed calmer now, its chaotic energies subdued. Zephyrion turned to Eli, its eyes glowing with pride. The seal is safe. But its burden is ours to bear. As long as we live, we will guard it from those who would misuse its power. Eli sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. So, no pressure or anything. A new journey. As they left the astral rift, Zephyrion carried Eli back into the familiar void of space. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and Earth was a distant speck behind. What happens now? Eli asked, the weight of their mission settling on his shoulders. We prepare, Zephyrion said. The Black Nebula will not stop. There will always be those who seek the seal. But we are stronger now together. Eli nodded, a small smile creeping onto his face. Guess I'm not just a mechanic anymore, huh? You are much more, Zephyrion said, its voice warm. You are a guardian of the cosmos. As they soared into the unknown, Eli felt a strange sense of peace. He didn't know what challenges lay ahead, but he knew he wasn't facing them alone. For the first time in his life, he wasn't just fixing things, he was protecting something truly important.